things, is what Pat said. So for everything, she's talking about everything, is what she said. So y'all enjoy and have fun, and we have food afterwards. So thank you.
Okay, I want to first thank everyone that's here tonight. We have some special guests here from Jonesboro, and I want to really thank the sisters from Jonesboro for coming tonight. Thank y'all so much, and thank everybody. This is a great time, and I have not been able to attend all of the series, but the ones I have attended have been wonderful. They have just really been good. And I want to thank the Heritage Museum for inviting, thanks for inviting me here to, John Allen is making faces at me. And thank you, John Allen, for inviting us here. And
that's what I was getting at.
Okay. We're just so glad to be a part of this series because we are getting to talk about someone that's very dear to my heart and very special. She was also special to the community as well. I want to thank Jean because Jean, I drug her along with me. Jean was also a student under Miss Eddie Mae, and she has some things that she probably remembers that I didn't experience. So I just really want to thank everybody for being here. I want to do a little bit of background history of the African American education in Randolph County. Miss Eddie Mae was not the first teacher to teach black children. We had, and this is something that you don't hear a lot about. Seemed like to me it's a well-kept secret, a wonderful secret, where the sisters at St. Paul's had a mission school. And they opened up this mission school and taught black children. And for a long time, I thought that the children, I knew there was a black school, but I thought they were children that were brought in here. They were immigrant children. But they were not. They were children that lived here in our area. And we even know some of them. So I wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about that. The reason why we know that this school started in 1888 and it went to 1909. And it was told at once that it was just in for a short time, but going back through records, we found out that it was open for about 21 years. And I wanted to read something here that was written from, it's a promise kept, and it said that on Monday, January the 2nd, 1888, Mother Beatrice opened the school with 103 students in attendance. After a short while, Father Wobble procured a house and furnished it for a classroom with Sister Agnes Daly. She taught the black children in this area. And it also had a note here that said that the white population showed such resentment to this missionary endeavor of the sisters that this school for black children eventually had to be closed. But it was still open for a long time. And the way that we found that out is Cindy Robinette is a local genealogist here. And she found this. She found in the St. Paul's archives a register. This is a book. It's a record here, and it says colored. It's White's New Common School Register, and it says colored. And it has all of the black students' names in it. And one of the students was Mabel Johnson. You remember Mabel, everybody? He worked here on the square for years, shined shoes at sanitary barber. And he stayed there until he retired, as far as I can remember. So he was one of the students, he and his sister, and also there were other students also, that some of them were Jean's relatives.
Herbert, Pittman, Homer, and Reginald. They were my grandmother's sons, and they died at early ages of like 20 and 30 years of age. But they were also students of that school too. But we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's just when you're talking about this right now, in our archives, if you come to the convent, right in the lobby is a photograph of the black students with the sisters, and like I said, it's in the archives, right? And we're glad that it's out there, so we have
Yes, yes.
and it's also, I think, included in our the updated history of the convent on High Ground, written by Sister Henry Hockel, who was a community historian, wrote the book. I think it's also the photograph, if I'm not mistaken, it's also in that book.
Okay.
And if you come to the convent, you get a free copy.
I think it's in the Making of Catholic Hill too,
Oh, okay, okay.
which is
What-
on.
Oh, good.
What did you
CD
say?
for sale.
What did you say? The Making of Catholic Hill.
Oh,
I
is
think
there.
it's included in that.
The picture.
Yeah, picture.
So that is the background of African American education here in Randolph County, and so many people don't know that, and for years we didn't know it. So they laid the groundwork, and then after that, along came Miss Eddie Mae, that we remember. Miss Eddie Mae was her last name was Hill. And she was born in Searcy, Arkansas. That's White County. Her parents were Elder and Mrs. E.D. Hill. Mr. Hill was born in Arkansas, but Mrs. Hill was born in North Carolina. So Miss Eddie Mae was the oldest of 5 children. And so they all were born in Searcy. She was born April the 6th in 1908. She received her education in public schools in Arkansas, such as the Haywood College. She attended Philander Smith College. She also attended the University of Arkansas. So Miss Eddie Mae, we came up with a lot of this information through census. We contacted the archives in Little Rock and got some census, and it was just amazing the education that she had when she came here. Also, by 1930, Mrs. Eddie Mae had moved to Pine Bluff, Arkansas. And at the age of 22 years old, she taught at Haygood, Haygood, Haygood College. I had never heard of that. It was Haygood Institute, is what they called it. She taught that, and then soon after, she came to Northeast Arkansas to begin her teaching career here. In April of 1936, she married a man from Biggers, Arkansas. His name was E.W. Herron. That's when the Herron came in. He was a laborer, a farmer, and she, of course, was a teacher. Miss Eddie Mae taught. She taught at Biggers until the school closed, and then she moved to Pocahontas. And as far back as I can remember, she moved to one house and she stayed there. She lived on at that time it was Smithville Street. Does everybody remember Smithville?
Yes.
Smithville Street, but now it's called West Mar. She lived right on the corner of West Mar and Wobble Street. And she lived there
It's not the Wyville Street that we know of now.
Really?
No, it's Barre Street.
Yeah, it was
Huh.
Barre Street back in the day,
Oh,
before they changed
yeah,
it.
Okay,
Oh,
Okay.
It was right across the street from us. I knew her very, very well.
yes, ma'am.
I remember Miss Eddie Mae, and she stayed with Fanny Kraft, who lived in our great-grandparents' two-story house. And I don't know when she moved to Pocahontas, but she used to come every summer and stay with Fanny. And that's
Oh,
that's
okay.
where I first met her. So I
Wonderful.
didn't know that she had lived in Pocahontas.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
She lived in
But she
Pocahontas.
stayed there with Fanny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Fanny lived on Smithville Street, didn't she?
She lived,
No.
you say Barre.
Barre Street,
Barre
okay.
Street.
Okay.
It's just off of Smith, what they called Smithville in those days.
Yeah, it was Smithville.
Okay.
Well, Marsh Street was called Smithville, wasn't it? Yeah. But the house faced Barre Street.
Okay.
Barre Street.
Great.
Yeah.
This is, I really, really appreciate you all's input. I really do. So Miss Eddie Mae, soon after, like I was saying, she was married to E.W. and she continued her teaching. And then some years they were married. I don't know how many years, but then it ended up with divorce. And Miss Eddie Mae continued her teaching, but you know she was single up until 1959, when she married Reverend Ollie McDonald. We called him. Excuse me.
Say that again, please.
His name was Reverend Ollie, O-L-L-I-E, McDonald. And Rev McDonald was a minister as well in the church where the Eddie Mae Herron Center is now. That was a church as well. And he was a minister there. And he was also an employee of the Pocahontas Public School. He was a bus driver. He drove the bus up until he died, and he died from an accident. I don't know if a lot of you remember that there was an accident. He was transporting us to Newport to school and had a heart attack, and he died there, and that was in 1964.
You were in the
So,
bus.
yes, yes,
Wow.
I was on the bus at that time. That left her a widow again. So in 1965, Miss Eddie Mae married for the last time another reverend. She loved those preachers.
A lot of women do.
Well, she married Reverend Albert H. Jones, and he was a minister here as well. He was from Blytheville, and they were married up until Miss Eddie Mae's death. Miss Eddie Mae was a member of many organizations. She was a go-getter. She was involved in a lot of activities in the community. She was a fantastic teacher. She was a member of St. Mary chapter number 410 OES, and that OES is Order of Eastern Star. She used to tell us about her being a member of Eastern Star, but I didn't really understand what that all meant. But that was something that was big in the church, the Eastern Star. She was also a member of the Arkansas Teachers Association. She was a member of Arkansas Education Association, the National Education Association, and she was a member of Blytheville Social and Arts Club. Miss Eddie Mae died in February the 1st of 1968. She done many good things while she was here, and she really put her footprints on me and Jean, I feel like.
Yes, she did.
A lot of times people would say, I wonder how did she manage to teach all of those classes, you know, in one little small room. But there may have been about, I would say, up to like 21 or 25 children on her roster. But she would have older kids that she had already trained and taught, and they would help the younger kids. And I will always remember Jean Oakes was one of them. She was one of the older students that always helped the younger children with their homework or with their work at school. Miss Eddie Mae always, she knew her children. She knew who could and who couldn't. And so she was one that would always, was always there to help the younger students. Jean, you have something you want to pitch in?
Yes, Miss Eddie Mae was a wonderful person. She also taught our adult parents that work
No.
in the schools.
She has one.
She allowed, I'm sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, she also taught the parents of the children. They had a class.
Yeah, there you go.
She had a class where she helped them to learn to read and do mathematics and all that stuff to help their families grow and profit. She also did a thing where we had, every year, we would have like a banquet for all the parents and even parents from Imboden and Walnut Ridge came up and had a big dinner, dressed up really nice and acted like really good kids.
That's what she would tell us.
And another thing that she liked to do was to put on shows for the Pocahontas public schools. They would have us dancing for them at different times, and so she always enjoyed doing those things, and she was always on her toes about when, what was his name, the superintendent?
King, Mr. King?
No.
No, it was another
Newman.
one. Newman.
Newman. Oh, that was earlier, yeah.
She was always pleased when Mr. Newman was going to come out there at the school and look at to see what the children were doing and everything. She was also very proud of that. But I think with the education and her being such a go-go person, she taught a lot of people in Pocahontas, and she taught a lot of the parents. And she also stayed on the children, where a lot of them now are school teachers and whatever. They have good jobs, those that have not passed on. So she really did a great thing for our community. She was a big loss.
You know, I think for a while, she was the only teacher in our school system that had a master's degree.
That's what I heard.
That's what the records show
Yeah.
here, that her education
Yeah,
was.
she had a master's degree.
Yeah.
Eastern Star is the Ladies Association of the Lodge. Masonic Lodge.
Oh, really?
And at that time, it was probably the largest women's organization in Randolph County. Because it was quite an institution in that time, and
I know it was something she was real proud of.
Yes,
She was
yes.
very proud to be a part of the Eastern Star.
well, it was a prestigious organization in the 30s and 40s.
Pat, I may date myself by saying this, but I'm about a 64-year member of the Eastern Star.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am.
Okay. She was also a big worker worker in the church. I know. It was. I was reading back of when her father was a minister, that she worked a lot in the church. It said that she was very active in the church and in the community, and that was in Pine Bluff. So going back to Miss Eddie Mae in Biggers, I'm not sure exactly how many years, but going back to the things that we have researched, it looked like she may have taught there 2 or 3 years before coming to Pocahontas. And before coming to Pocahontas, there was a lady in Biggers by the name of Mrs. Scott, and she was the wife of C.C. Scott. So she was there before Miss Eddie Mae came. But as Jean was saying a few minutes ago, is how Miss Eddie Mae was very patient and kind to us. She was the same way with our parents. I can remember, you know, a lot of people don't know my full name. Yes, you do. But Miss Eddie Mae named me. I was born in 1948, and as I grew older and was able to go to school, the kids made fun of my name. They could never say it right, or they'd say, "Oh, you was born in a pasture." You know how kids are. But anyway, one day I asked her, I said, "Why did you name me that? Why did you give me that name?" And she was so proudly, she said, the reason why I went and I asked your mother and dad if I could name you is because at that time I was teaching about Louis Pasteur.
Oh.
And my mother's name was Lorene. So she put pastor and ring together. So that kind of made me feel happy, because I had part of my mom's name, but still not happy enough to like it. But now that I am older, I really understand, and I like my name now. Not to call me that, but I like it. My name is Pastorine.
Pastorine. How do you spell that?
Thank you. Pasturine. Oh, everybody will know now.
Like a pasture?
Huh?
Like a pasture?
Pasturine.
Like Louis
Louis Pasteur. Pasteur.
Well, I'm not up into that. I don't know Lily Pasteur.
Then you should learn.
I'm still gonna call you back.
Okay, that's good. That's good, Jay. And it's just a lot of funny things that's happened by my name. I remember when I was working at the health department, and Debbie, you will probably remember this. I was working at the health department, and I answered the phone one day, and the person that had called, his name was Pastor Ritter. He said, "I'm Pastor Ritter." And I said, "How did you know my name?" And he said, "What?" And I'll never forget that. I thought that was someone that was making fun of my name again. But anyway, I won't do a whole lot of more talking, but I would like to have questions from anyone that would like to ask us questions.
Pat, I have a comment. When the schools integrated in the 60s, I was probably, I don't remember exactly what year it was, you may know.
Fall 65.
65. Anyway, Miss Eddie Mae came to the Pocahontas schools, and she taught for a short time at the Pocahontas school.
Thank
Her
you,
name was
Debbie.
Eddie Mae Jones.
Thank you. I had forgotten to say that, because Miss Eddie Mae did teach when the schools were closed, when they were integrated. In 65, Miss Eddie Mae did teach at the Pocahontas Public School. She taught there 1 year before her health became bad and she moved to Blytheville. But yes, she did, and she was a Jones at that time. That's right.
I've heard Mr. King say many times what an asset she was to have in our school system. You know, and he was the superintendent in the early sixties there.
What did she
Real
teach?
asset.
What'd she teach?
When she went to the public school, I think she's science, wasn't it, or
I
English?
think it was English.
English.
I'm almost sure it was English.
That was what her master's was in. It was
Oh,
in
okay.
English, but yeah. Yes, thank you for bringing that up because I had forgotten that. That was a big part of Miss Eddie Mae's life too, as well as the students' time, is the integration of the schools. Yes, sir.
When you finished the 8th grade and went to Newport,
Yes.
did you feel pretty well prepared when you got into high school?
Yes, we were. We were, but we were. I think I was kind of overwhelmed. We were going to school with a lot of other children, and that the school that we attended was grade school through high school. So it wasn't just a high school, and so to go and you see so many other young people, and what I liked that they weren't your cousins.
Are you sure?
So that means that a little less studying. We had more studying in the 1st through 8th. I did.
So you went 1st through 8th. Let me ask you this. Did you have rows like 1st grade, 2nd grade? Because my late husband went to Engelberg, and I'm sure the sisters can remember when Engelberg and all those had their own schools. And through the 8th grade, you know, and I'm younger, a little bit than you. And, you know, he was my age. And he said, you know, you went from this row to this row, and you just advanced to the 8th grade, and then you came to Pocahontas.
No, I don't remember it being that way. We were sitting in rows because, we didn't have any air conditioning and everything. Everybody, she would kind of put us by the window, especially during the summer,
Right.
so we could, get air from. And I can remember us being in chairs, but they were not in rows as in grades.
Yeah, well,
That
at
I can
Engelberg they
remember.
were, you know, and when you finished one grade, you went to the next row. You just
Oh,
kept
okay.
advancing, you know, till.
Well, now,
And 8 rows.
if it was that way, I don't remember. It may have been.
The small kids in the front and.
Yeah.
Not at Engelberg.
Oh, is that
I
right?
got pictures.
It's
By rows.
did the 2nd grade teach the 1st grade, and the 3rd grade taught the 2nd grade, having gone to a one-room school. That was we got a good education, but we helped we were helping one another, and while the teacher would say be teaching the 7th grade, the 8th grade may be teaching the 6th grade,
Oh, well, I knew that the older students would help the younger ones. I do remember that. Like I was saying, Jean was one of the older girls that would help the younger classes. She's very smart. She was really good. And easy. Yeah, she really is.
What kind of obstacles did y'all have to deal with in terms of just anything like, maintaining the was she maintaining the buildings, or how was all that taken care of?
Well, mainly I think it was by the kids. We had duties. She would give each kid, something that we had to do. Even if, like I can remember when starting off, we had a wood stove.
Right.
So you had to carry in wood, and there were just jobs. And I think that was when she was getting us ready for life, teaching us how to work, teaching us to have jobs, teaching us to have respect for what your responsibility, yes. And I think that was, and plus our parents was really good too. to get in and to help. Every month, Miss Eddie Mae would have, she called them a social. She was really big in family gatherings. And she would call it a social. And once a month, we would have a cake walk. Our parents would bake cakes, and she would have the children to put numbers on the floor. And if you ever come to the Eddie Mae Herron Center, you will see those numbers are still there. They're fading away, but they're still there. And she would have us to maybe, you would pay a nickel to walk, to cake walk. And maybe you would leave with maybe 2 cakes, you know, where you had won. And that money, she would take that money and would buy pencil and paper and for things that the other kids didn't have. You know, if some kids didn't have paper and pencil, I remember she done that. And she would buy, like, she would send us to town up here to with Joe Pete's and Ben Franklin's, the dime store. You know, if you had been a good student and done your work and done what she'd asked, that was kind of like a treat. She would pick someone out of the group that would get to go to town and purchase these things, and that was a real treat because you got out of class and you got to go, you took the long way around, but you got to go to town and pick up things that she needed. So that was some of the ways that things were kept up by our parents, and also the supplies. If we had to have, you know, like books and things, the school furnished us.
You were part of the school system.
Yeah,
Pocahontas
yes,
school system.
that's right. We were in the school system. So, but before before we had lunches brought to us from the school, we had to take our lunches. And that was a grand time when we got to get lunches from the school. That was something else that Miss Eddie Mae taught us as well. Is she taught the girls how to set the table up before Mr. Thompson was his name. He would bring our lunch, and he brought them in and brought our lunches in big containers. You know, we'd have big containers like of beans and whatever we were having for lunch that day. And she would have girls to serve. We got to serve the other children. And that was, we didn't know it at the time, but that was teaching us how to serve, how to set the table, how to clean up the dishes. After we finished eating, we had a time limit. We knew when Mr. Thompson was coming, and we knew when he was going to come back to pick up the containers to take back to the school. That was a great time for us. You know, it was just a good time. We had good meals, and it was just a great time. And also another thing that Miss Eddie Mae taught us, and I'm so proud, we did not have a flag. Why? I don't know why we didn't have a flag. But every morning she taught us to say the Pledge of Allegiance and told us how to hold our hands over our hearts. That was taught to us, and we would look up. At that time, we had a picture of George Washington. George Washington his picture was hanging over the blackboard. We would look to George Washington and say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. Every morning. And we would also have a prayer. That was the routine. That was the start of the day, every day. And we would have she would call it exercise. We would get ready to learn. You know, we would sit in our seats and we'd sing and we'd jump up and down. And that was in her way of getting us ready for learning. We didn't have a bell for recess or for time for school to take up or let out. So what she would do is she would pick a student, and that was an honor. That was a real honor to get to be the one to go and say bail. Bail. It was, we didn't have a bail, so when it come time for lunch, she would go and pick out a student, and she'd say, you could say bail today. So you'd go and you'd say, bail! And of course, the kids were just, hey, let's go, it's time to go outside. And you would go up to her. Everybody wanted to be the one to say it. You know, can I say bail today? Can I say bail today? So that was a real honor. We've done a lot for what she had. She was very creative. And so these are just the things that we had in learning, which was, was what we had and how we managed.
I bet nobody fell through the cracks. I bet she got to everybody in that room.
She got to everyone. That's exactly right. She was a wonderful lady, and I feel like she used us for her children because she never had children. And so to her, we were her children. Yes. And she was part of the family. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to tell you that, and I told you this before, that I visited Eddie Mae Herron, a school, and it was in December, Christmas time, and I don't remember seeing Miss Eddie Mae there. But her brother, your brother, Terry, and I was teaching music at St. Paul's, and so he invited me to come along and play the piano. Had a piano there, and we took candy and little gifts to them.
We looked for that every year. Yeah. We knew the sisters were going to come during Christmas to bring us Christmas gift. It would be an apple, an orange, a roll of notebook paper with the ribbon tied on, and a pencil. I remember that so well. Thank you for bringing that up, because that was a special time for us. And that goes to show how the sisters continue to be in the African American children's lives by teaching. They came every year, and you would play the piano, we'd sing. So that's true. Yes, sir. You had a question.
Yeah, Miss Pat, you said from 1888 to 1909 the Catholic Sisters had a school for the colored children?
Yes.
What happened to that school, and then is that right when this other school started? Was it the school that's the Eddie Mae Herron Center now?
No.
Okay.
No.
When did that?
There is a gap in there that we're looking for.
Okay.
We're still researching that. But no, it did not begin after it ended.
Okay.
The school at the Catholic school lasted a lot longer than most people realized that it did.
Okay.
And the only way that we found that out is by finding this register here. It has the dates of when, and it has the students' names in it, of the black children.
Right.
Now, the Catholic school had, at that time when they started, they had 103 children that attended the Catholic school.
Now that's
and this
white and colored, or is that?
This is black. These are just white children. 103
okay.
white children.
Okay.
But then there were like 65, I think, in here of black children.
Okay.
That was over the course of 21 years, is that, you said 65?
Yeah.
That was 65 over the course of
1909 is when it ended.
Okay. The Catholic school was not in the Eddie Mae Herron Center.
No, ma'am.
It was at the corner of Broadway and Ball Street.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Ball Street.
Balls.
You know, right in front of where Rosemary
Yes.
Balls lives.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
street
yeah.
up comes up to the top of the hill, and then where Broadway meets it. It was in that corner.
Yes, that's right. But when the mission school started, that's where the black children were, in that school. It's just really amazing to me is the people that came here, that Father Wobble and Sister, yes, they were from Switzerland.
Wow.
They came here, and when they came here and started that school, and they realized that there were black children that needed education too. So that is so exciting to me. It's just really, really, it just means so much. Because way back in the 1800s, you know, way before things were, you know, legal for us to be together, you know, they had made a room for the black children to be educated.
The Sister Agnes had taught in the Indian school in, I don't know. Wisconsin.
Yeah, I read in here.
She was saying that the first sisters there were the Dominican sisters from Wisconsin. They first taught in the colored school, but they didn't stay long in Arkansas. They went back.
Yes, yes.
I didn't like the climate.
Yeah, that's.
You know, I graduated in '73. I came from Warm Springs, Arkansas. So to acquire a master's, even in that day, I mean, was hard. I mean, it was. So I'm a little surprised that she was able to, in the time that she grew up in, to get a master's. That is quite an achievement.
Yes.
For a woman of that day.
Yes.
Regardless of color, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, that was in the 30s. You know,
Yeah.
the
Well, I graduated in 73. It was hard to get a master's.
30s.
You know,
Yeah.
She probably went,
But-
I guess she went to Philander Smith first.
She went to Haygood.
Haygood first.
It's
and then
Haygood
Philander
Institute.
Smith.
Yes.
And then her.
And then the Arkansas,
U of
the U of A is when she was started teaching here. She continued to go and do classes, get
But, you know, for
extra
a woman
classes.
of
yeah,
the
it's a big
30s to
deal.
get a master's,
Well,
to
she
me,
was-
is
She was
is
the only
huge.
teacher here that had a master's for a long time.
Right.
Well, it
Yeah,
might
that's
have been that
amazing.
she was. Of course, they say preachers' kids are just as bad, but it might have been because she, you know, she was in a well-structured family, probably.
Yeah.
And
I can remember she had some beautiful gold teeth.
yes, she did.
So
So that was another thing. Someone came up to the Eddie Mae Herron Center and saw her picture, and they said, "Does she have gold teeth?" I said, "Yeah, boy, she must have really been, you know, uptown at that time. Or maybe it didn't cost very much then. I don't know." I don't know.
my
But-
mother always talked about how neat and clean and how pretty she looked all the time. She was always dressed just perfect. My mother just loved her. Uh-huh.
She was a pretty lady, a wonderful lady. She was good for us. I think that's why she was so special to all of us. She came in here, she was educated, she was knowledgeable about a lot of things that we didn't know and our parents didn't know. So she was just someone that came when it was needed, and she just was a part of every family, not just black families, but white families as well. There's many people that come and tell me, you know, and Mrs. She just passed here not too long ago. She was a school, Mrs. Simpson. She would tell me all the time that she and Miss Eddie Mae were good friends, and they were teachers, and they had a lot of things in common. So I'm still just really proud. My saddest thing is that she's not here to enjoy the honor that she's getting. I had it counted up, and I think if she had been alive, she'd be 112 or something like that. So she was just a wonderful teacher. Jean, do you have anything else?
Had she prepared, I think John was kind of getting at this earlier, had she prepared you all extra special well for your experience at Newport, and compared to the other students and everything, you were right?
I think so. I think she had not just in books, but just in daily life. I think we had no problems. And another thing is when we got to Newport, we still had her first cousin was our teacher. He was a teacher there. So her family was still part of us. She taught us in Newport.
There's continuity.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then in attending then the public schools here, the transition was not not difficult.
I don't
In terms of your education background.
I don't think there was any.
No, you weren't
It might-
behind. Nobody was
Oh,
behind.
yes,
That's what I'm talking
okay.
about. You weren't
No,
behind
no, no.
educationally.
No, that's
And
right.
She was
That's
a
right.
great,
That's right.
really good
That's
teacher.
right. Yes. We were, and that was another thing that I think so much about. She just really, not only just at the school, even like when she would come to our homes, she was still teaching. Still teaching when she would come to our homes. So, I know a lot of people may think, oh, she couldn't have been that wonderful. But she was. She was to me. She gave us the bread that we needed, and not only the children, but our parents as well. I can remember my mom being so excited about going to school at night. She would teach. My mom could not read, so she taught my mother and how to read, and my father could read, but he was kind of shy in math, and so she had math for those that were weak in math, and she had reading for those that were weak in reading. So that is just something that you just can't forget, and it just sticks with you. It just really.
We need that today.
Well, I think they had a lot of that in back then with, I'm not taking anything away from Eddie Mae, I certainly wouldn't, but you think of all the little country schools that you had.
Yeah.
That went through the 6th to 8th grade, and then they were, but if they wanted to go to high school, and so many of them couldn't, but if they wanted to go to high school, then they had to hop a bus. And
Yeah, and I'm
you
glad
probably lived downtown. You didn't have to do that. But.
No, he lived out in the country.
Oh, did you ride a bus after the 8th grade to Pocahontas?
Gosh, we didn't even have a
You didn't
bus.
have a bus.
Yes.
On a Stoker wagon.
Oh, I forgot your age.
That's
Yes,
a lot of
Susan.
things we didn't have.
Yes, Susan, you're right. There were so many,
Those
so
little
many
teachers that
other.
molded and
Yeah, and they
shaped
all should have
so
been
many
together.
lives. Yeah.
Just so many. You're right. There were so many different ones, and basically you were doing the same thing. You were just trying to get an education and learn. So.
And some of the kids were able to, and some wasn't. We have a client that's in his 80s, and he grew up in Biggers, and he went to a little school till he was 8th grade, and then he came to Pocahontas. He was one of the fortunate ones that got to come to high school for an education. Like my dad and some of the ones stuck out in Warm Springs, and the Missouri line didn't get that chance.
Yeah.
I guess they didn't have a buggy.
We had to walk to school, Pat, right? We lived in
Carry your
Sutton.
lunch?
Yeah. You had to
Uphill
do
going,
help
uphill
for
going,
kids,
right?
put your lunch in a little pail, and then you trade them over the
Little water bucket, carry your lunch in?
Absolutely.
I had it bad. My bus didn't have air. But Mr. Saunders would put the gas on and it'd blow through the window. Especially going down.
Everybody's have a story, and that's the one good thing is when you get together and you talk with people, you end up basically doing the same thing. I mean, so many people, the things that we talk about, there's several people here could say the same thing about their teachers, It's just that everybody basically raised up the same. and just, you know, done the thing.
But you were so lucky to have her for 8 years. I mean, our teachers we didn't have for 8 years, you know, I barely remember it. You know, having 1 year. And especially because she was so wonderful, you know.
Yeah.
If she'd been an ogre or something, it would have been great for 8 years.
Look at my hair, I'm gonna get out of here.
But I mean, seriously, I mean, you had a relationship with her. She knew everything about you and what you needed.
Yeah.
And how you needed to learn it, you know.
That's true. That's true. And that's why I say she was just such a blessing to us. She came here from another town, and she brought her knowledge and her love and her patience to the families here. And I still feel like she made me, you know, what I am.
What year did you say she came?
What year did she come?
Well, she got married, I just know she got married in 1936. I don't know if she had been here a while. I just got that part from census, that she got married here, and she was the teacher, came here in Lawrence County. So,
I think she might have come during the war. In the 40s. Is that possible?
in the what, 40s? Yes, yes. That is, that's when it shows here that she started teaching in 1940 in Biggers. So, when was the Great Depression? The 30s?
30s.
The 30s,
So I guess
yes.
a few years after that when she came to Pocahontas.
Well, if there are no other questions, I'd like to just thank the Heritage Museum and Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all for inviting us and allowing us to be a part of this. Thank you so much. Did I pass John?
Good job.